Good afternoon and welcome to today's Tropics for June 21st, 2021. Please note I'm not a meteorologist and this video is just a collection of my thoughts and opinions about the storm I'm talking about. And for any decision making, please consult the National Hurricane Center or your local officials. So we got this or another wave in the main development region. Uh, Unusual to have a lot of activity here, and so the chances are low. Currently has 30% chance. However, there is a short-lived window where it'll be kind of insulated from dry air and it won't have high shear, and that will be when it could try to attempt to become a tropical cyclone. So right now you can even see that enhanced enhanced vorticity has got that kind of curving flow that suggests some sort of southwesterly wind, and then of course you've got the northeasterly wind that also is enhanced by the general background flow, and it is also passing 50 degrees west, so that's where you get the warmer waters and you get more convective initiation with those warmer waters. That's when you tend to have waves try to consolidate as they have more, end up getting more convection. However, that is more of a sort of later season thing where that you'd expect, or perhaps more in July or August rather than June, but there is that kind of shelf of warmer water, so it happens regardless, even if it's a bit less impressive. Now, the part that we're looking at is the northeastern part here, and that's what's kind of exciting the guidance. See, kind of uh, cumulonimbus cloud that's firing right now at sunset. And you can see it's kind of pulsing right now. It's not too strong, not too impressive, but it might be enough to briefly close off a low-level center, probably within the next 24 to 48 hours before conditions really start to get worse for the storm. Looking at the water vaporimetry, you can see upper level conditions are pretty good right now. You've got southerly winds aloft on the northern side and the northerly winds aloft on the southern side, and that is the hallmark of some upper level divergence, which is helping it for the moment. You can see this large area of dry air that's not going to help at all, and it's probably going to lead to its demise in the next couple of days. But right now, it isn't directly interacting with that area. As long as it doesn't really set up a lot of inflow from that dry area, it is probably going to remain pretty well insulated in this area. And so that uh, with the low shear, that means it'll probably be able to keep itself going while the upper level, or at least the upper level conditions, are decent in this part of the basin. However, things are going to change pretty soon, even in the western main development region, where currently there isn't a whole lot of wind shear, and that's because of this large or anticyclonic wave breaking event here. So we've got this big anticyclone aloft that is way up into the north, and that means to the south you tend to have upper level cyclogenesis, and so you have this tropical upper tropospheric trough here, and even into ginning into an upper low here. But what that will do is increase the westerly flow even further south. So that is going to start putting some westerly shear and some of that pressure onto the wave as it gets in this region and into the northeastern Caribbean. So probably by midweek, it's time for development or really to do anything will have passed as it starts getting sheared. And if we look back at this dry air here, if it starts getting sheared, that means uh, it's going to have that dry upper level or dry air towards the upper levels start to advect in this region. And that means that it'll be harder to generate convection, and so it can't really moisten its region. That's when it'll start to struggle with dry air and shear. So whatever it is probably going to have some trouble. At the same time, as it's gen- gradually gradually gaining latitude, it's going to try to split from the intertropical convergence zone, And what that is going to do is means it kind of has to fend for itself in terms of moisture. And in a more favorable environment, maybe it can do that. But once westerly shears starting to advect a dry air mass into the region, then that's when it's going to start having some trouble. At the same time, it's also heading into the northeastern Caribbean, and what that means is, especially in the early season, you have stronger trade winds in the eastern Caribbean and lower level divergence, and that means you've got more sinking air, which is further going to inhibit convection. And at the same time, that means it kind of stretches out the vorticity, and that is probably going to be what happens to this wave, whether it develops or not. And it'll probably be pretty much done with as it tries going north of the or tries going into the northeastern Caribbean and eventually north of the Greater Antilles. So it seems that luckily, since it is pretty early, we're not going to see a major impact for any of the islands that it's heading towards. Instead, it's probably going to be some perhaps beneficial rain from showers and thunderstorms. We may have to watch the further southern part of the wave because that's going to kind of crack through the Caribbean and perhaps get itself into the Western Caribbean. And the low level convergence here is the stronger Eastern Caribbean. Stronger trades tend to weaken here. That means you sometimes have kind of piling up and more convection, kind of consolidation of vorticity, but there's no real reasonable guidance right now that suggests that. And given that there may be a tropical cyclone in the eastern Pacific here this year, that will cause in the Caribbean should keep it closed even in the more favorable Western Caribbean region. But that is quite far out, so I'll have to see what happens with that, if anything. If you have any questions, comments about my video, please let me know. Thanks for watching.